Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing 5 films I've enjoyed from Kino Lorber that I think you should own in your collection. Barnes & Noble is having a sale right now, so I made a video for that. Or if in the future there's another Kino Lorber sale or you're buying from them, some ideas that I think would be helpful, starting with a film that really surprised me the first time I saw it, and I can't wait to watch it again. A great Western that's severely underrated, Death Rides a Horse. This is a very classic vengeance tale with John Philip Law from Barbarella, of all things, who plays a very good shot in this movie, alongside Lee Van Cleef, who is a mysterious bandit. But basically, John Philip Law is just going through and taking out some bad guys. It's a very straightforward plot. It's highly stylized. For me, this was a 5-star movie because it did everything it wanted to do completely well. But some people may think it's a little contrived or normal. Overdone of a story, something like that. But I really liked it. I think that there is a strong place in cinema for these vengeance westerns, and this is among the best of them. Definitely great music. Ennio Morricone, of course. Like, I'm always going to love his films that he's been, doing the scores for, and a very touching ending and just a great chemistry with these two. Maybe he's not Clint Eastwood, John Philip Law, but I still think that the presence of Lee Van Cleef beside him is very good, and I actually like that he's less of a domineering personality than, say, like a John Wayne or a Clint Eastwood, John Philip Law. And the reason for this is because I think it normalizes a conflict that any of us could be a part of, and it sort of brings the action home in a way. So I really like Death Rides a Horse, and I love the cover. So everything I picked out here, I like the cover because and all of these have sleeves, because I just think they're really cool pieces of physical media. Another one of these that a friend of mine had said, Cody, you got to see this, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna see if it's as good as Banshees of Inisherin, and I liked it a lot, maybe even better. In Bruges, I don't know, you all can, I forget the pronunciation here, but this is a terrific black comedy with Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, who were in Banshees of Inisherin more recently together. And they're very funny together. They're hiding out. They're like assassins on a hideout in this city of Bruges. And, they eventually get caught up with Ralph Fiennes eventually catches up with them. He's another part of the criminal organization. And there's some hiding and trickery and double crossing. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Some noir elements for sure there, but it is hilarious. I have said before that maybe the hardest I've ever laughed in a movie was in this movie, and it involves a telephone. So if you know the telephone scene I'm talking about, Ralph Fiennes in that, just like, it still cracks me up every single time I hear it. I love all of the chemistry of all the actors. They're all really dedicated to this, and it's kind of a touching movie in a way, just fun to watch. And the cover's really cool. I think that the ice cream, the gun, Brendan Gleeson there. What was it? I was watching the zombie movie that's getting a sequel. I forgot Gleeson was in that. 28 Days Later, I think it's called. So I was watching that recently, really enjoying that. Pick that up, folks. I think you'll enjoy it. A film that was kind of split for critics when it came out, that has become a real classic, and one of my very favorite comedies with a dark, dramatic side at times, is Kindergarten Cop. I have always loved Kindergarten Cop, and it's in the Kino Lorber collection. So if you haven't ever heard of this film, or you think it's something silly, I mean, it is kind of silly, or maybe you haven't seen it, this is like Arnold at his peak comedic level, in my opinion. And he's basically like this cop who's chasing this guy, and he has to go undercover with this person who's supposed to be a school teacher to try to find the dude that he's looking for, but he ends up having to be the substitute teacher. And I originally, this was maybe a lot of kids like me. I remember being little, seeing this and thinking it was more for kids. It's not really. This is maybe teenager on up. The actual timing of this dude is so good. Arnold in this, like, he's so funny in every line. It's been memed to death. I remember, like, in 4th and 5th grade, people would pull out where he says, "Who is your daddy and what does he do?" That was really funny. But this is a great, good set of laughs in Kindergarten Cop. Whenever I was very first starting my channel, I reviewed this, and I had just seen it again for the first time in a while. Love it. Love Kindergarten Cop. Very underrated comedy. I mean, even the cover here with this, this actually looks really good on the sleeve jacket with that clean white and all the kids like making a pyramid. Best part of the movie, that's not really a big spoiler. He goes for like a day of teaching and he gets back after dealing with all the kids. And he just like falls over on the bed. And that's so accurate. If you've ever done teaching, by the way, very few movies are as accurate about teaching as Kindergarten Cop is. It just knows kids in and out. So anyway, good one. Another comedy I like, and I'm not usually the biggest on British comedies, but I did enjoy this one quite a bit. This is called The Lady Killers, and Alec Guinness movie. I've talked recently about how much I love Alec Guinness and the original Star Wars, and how I think he really held everything together like the Force, you know. And here the same thing. He really holds this whole experiment together. But basically, there's a group of robbers or would-be robbers, and they're staying in this old woman's house, and they need to make sure she doesn't get wise, because otherwise they might have to, the name of the title of the movie here. It's a really entertaining film. It's kind of a dark comedy in some ways. They will pretend to like play instruments, but the instruments are playing off of there's like a recording instead of them playing. Good little cat and mouse bank robber movie, kind of a classic. It does look exceptional in the 4K, because I've watched parts of it both on the 4K and the Blu-ray, and the colors really pop off there. And I do believe, I can't remember, I'm thinking this is actually in Technicolor maybe. If it's not in Technicolor, it feels like it is. So maybe it's not, I don't know. But I enjoyed The Lady Killers. And another great sleeve here. Another great, sleeve jacket. And finally, probably the best movie of these, honestly, is Andrei Tarkovsky's Nostalgia. And Nostalgia is an excellent, excellent movie, and it's a great 4K transfer here, particularly the water and all the different colors and so forth. But this is about, I've only seen Nostalgia once, so this, explains the Russian word, and it conveys the love of your homeland and the melancholy that arises from being far away. The debilitating form of homesickness is embodied in the film by an intellectual. So this is a Russian intellectual doing research in Italy. And then he becomes, he develops some kind of feelings for someone he's working with, his translator, who's a beautiful woman. And there are dream flashbacks and different sequences that are kind of what you would expect from Tarkovsky. This is at the bottom again. I'm reading a lot off the back of this because I think it's just good descriptions, but Nostalgia is not so much a movie as a place to inhabit for 2 hours. And that's how I felt about Nostalgia whenever I watched it. The beauty of the film, there's excellent lighting in this church, that whole scene. It's typical stuff. Like if you've liked all the other Tarkovskys, I think you're going to like this. And there is a pretty big bump from the 4K if you can get that as well. I did a video a while back where I ranked all the feature films of Tarkovsky, and I'm such a huge fan of him that I wanted to talk about at least one of his here. So those are my big recommendations. All of these were, whenever I checked right before I started recording this, these were all online at Barnes & Noble. So if you're watching this for a Barnes & Noble sale, you can get them online, or they might be in your store. I saw Nostalgia earlier today whenever I was in there. And a few of these others I've picked up as well directly from the store. If you enjoyed this video today and you want to click the thumbs up like button, that'll sure help grow the channel. Tell me what you like from the Kino Lorber. What are some of your recommendations? I have more Kino Lorber films, but those were just some I pulled off my shelf sort of immediately. I would like to hear your all's thoughts and what all you would recommend to other people as well. It's kind of cool whenever you can see like a pile of recommendations that people have. But yeah, Barnes & Noble sell, pretty awesome. I like buying physical media from them when I can. I do it quite frequently. So those are my thoughts. See you next time. Cody in the Cinema.